It's Tuesday, April the 2nd at 7 p.m. Welcome to Adelaide Metcalfe Township Office. And it is our regular council meeting. In attendance today, or I guess we'll call to order first. It's 7 p.m. Could I have a motion to open the meeting? Moved by Nordoff, seconded by McKinnon. And could I have a motion to approve the agenda? Moved by Councillor Brody, seconded by Councillor Nordoff. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest in general nature thereof? Okay. We have our drainage commissioner or drainage inspector. Our commissioner sounds kind of formal. Superintendent, we'll call you, I guess. Drainage superintendent on Zoom, and our counselor Garrett Kingma is sick tonight. So you've just got the rest of us. You've had time to read the minutes from the March 18th, 2024 meeting. We have a recommendation that the minutes of the Adelaide Metcalfe Council held on March 18th be adopted as printed. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, then could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Nordoff. All in favor, and that's carried. Thank you. And you've also had an opportunity to read the minutes from the March 25th, 2024 meeting. We have a recommendation that the minutes of that meeting be adopted as printed. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Brody, seconded by Councillor Nordoff. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, we, in reference to the quarter revision, the topping drain, we have a recommendation that council appoint myself, Mayor Clark, Councillor Nordoff, and Councillor Brody to the quarter revision for the topping drain 2023. And further, that council appoint Mayor Clark as chair of the quarter revision for the topping drain 2023. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Brody. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, it is now 7:02 p.m. We have a recommendation that council sit as the quarter revision under section 97 of the Drainage Act as amended to consider the topping drain 2023. Excuse me. The quarter revision is pursuant to the report prepared. We already called it to order, didn't we? Oh, okay. I thought we got that. A mover and a seconder then. Sorry about that. Moved by Councillor Brody, seconded by Councillor Nordoff. All right. The quarter revision is pursuant to the report prepared by Spreed Associates dated November 30th, 2023, which was considered and adopted at the consideration meeting held on March the 4th, 2024, and pursuant to bylaw 17 of 2024, which received 2 readings by council at its regular meeting on March the 4th, 2024. Section 54(1) of the Drainage Act provides that the decision of the Court of Revision can be appealed to the Drainage Tribunal within 21 days from the date of the Court of Revision. The final day of appeals is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. The purpose of the Court of Revision is to hear appeals regarding the schedule of assessment only. The schedule of assessment may be altered, but the total assessment must remain the same. If one assessment is reduced, then another must be increased in the bounds. Okay, has the clerk received any appeals to the schedule of assessment?
No appeals were received by the at the township office.
Okay, is there anyone in the gallery that wishes to speak against the assessment? Okay. Is there anyone in the Court of Revision that has any questions regarding the schedule of assessment? Okay, then we have a recommendation that the assessment contained in the report for the topping drain 2023 as prepared by Spreed Associates dated November 30th, 2023 be confirmed as presented. Could I have a mover in a second? Sorry, moved by Councillor Brody, seconded by Councillor Nordoff. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, we have a recommendation that the quarter revision for the topping drain 2023 be adjourned at 7:05 p.m. Moved by Counselor Brody, seconded by Counselor Nordoff. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for coming. That's just for next time, so I know. Okay, next up is 6A correspondence, upcoming conferences, seminars, and meetings. The next regular council meeting for Adelaide Metcalfe Township is Monday, April the 15th, followed by another one on Monday, May the 6th at 7 as well. Your recommended readings, CC number 1, the Blue Water Recycling Association Board of Directors meeting highlights, March 21st, 2024. CC number 2, St. Clair Region Conservation Authority legislative changes affecting development permitting, March 11th, 2024. And the CC number 3, the Asable Bayfield Conservation Authority 2023 audited financial statement. Action required, CC number 4, we have a resolution from Clearview Township requesting endorsement of Bill C-63. Okay, could I have a motion to receive and file CC number 1, 2, 3, and 4? Moved by Counselor Brody, seconded by Counselor Nordoff. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, next up are the staff reports, and on 7A of our agenda, the capital budget to actual year end 2023, and I'll turn it over to our treasurer, Johnny Pereira.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. Through to council. So now that we have the year closed with all outstanding invoices and year-end entries complete, we are just bringing forward the year-ended statements for capital here. So this just outlines all the capital projects in 2023, highlighting that 9 of the 15 projects have been completed, 5 of which has been identified as a carry forward into 2024. And 1 being deferred to 2025. The recommendation is to receive the report as presented, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Johnny? I'm going to ask probably a very obvious question, but for example, the Kerwood Barn improvements, it looks like you didn't spend 4430, so that'll go into reserves in the park, or where will that go? Or is there still expenditure to go through?
No, great question. With all the reserves, we fund to actual. So anything we don't spend will remain in the reserve for future projects.
That's what we want to hear. Thank you. Okay, next up is 7B. If there's no question on 7A, or actually we have a recommendation on that one first, that the capital budget to actual year-end report for 2023 be received for information. Moved by Counselor McKinnon, seconded by Counselor Nordoff. All in favor, and that's carried. Thank you. Okay, next up is now 7B, year-end operating budget to actual 2023.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. Through the council. Similar report to the prior. This one's just dealing with the operating side of things. So back in February, we saw the preliminary report. Again, this just finalizes everything to date. So overall, staff really did an excellent job of finishing a challenging financial year with a surplus. So we ended with $161,510. There is a carry forward operating project, which will be spoken to in the surplus report. That's part of that amount. But yeah, the recommendation is to receive the report as presented. There's only minor changes in this report from the one presented in February, but happy to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions for Johnny? Seeing none, then we have a recommendation that the year-end operating budget to actual report for 2023 be received for information. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Counselor Brody, seconded by Counselor Nordoff. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, and that's you. 7C is you again, Johnny, the preliminary year-end surplus and reserve fund transfers. And I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor Clark, through the council. So the purpose of this report is just identify any surplus or deficit from the prior year and provide recommendations to council to address those financial outcomes. So as previously mentioned, 2023 ended with a surplus of $161,510. This surplus includes projects that were not completed or complete under budget, or projects that were deferred to 2024. It also includes additional revenue earned in tax-supported departments, as well as additional funding received from other levels of government. So as shown in the report here, the township has seen a dramatic decrease in the annual operating surplus from the last few years, which highlights the benefits of a zero-based budget, as departments are able to tighten their budgets and improve its overall accuracy as well. The surplus is broken down into two categories, one of which is related to operating project carry forwards. So of the 161,000, 18,000 relates to a project that has been deferred to 2024. And this project is just dependent on the servicing agreement. The remaining surplus of 143,000 is considered general surplus, which is the net of various efficiencies found in the year, cost savings, tax changes, unexpected revenues and expenses, and then any items that were over budget through the year. So the report does outline how we arrived at the surplus today, showing both large increases and decreases, both on the revenue side and expenditures. So utilizing our reserve and reserve fund policy, the remaining funds have been allocated in the report for council's consideration. The surplus is an estimate at this time, as it may change during the audit next week. But the recommendation is to approve the report as presented, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for Johnny? It's nice to see the surplus. Okay, seeing none, we have a recommendation that the 2023 surplus be transferred to, every single one? Do you want me to read every single one?
I don't expect you to.
Okay.
If you want to, Johnny, yeah, okay.
Okay, Johnny, do you want to make your recommendation?
Okay, so the recommendation is that the 2023 surplus be transferred to the legal reserve fund in the amount of $40,000 be approved, and that the 2023 surplus be transferred to the Kerwood Wastewater Capital Reserve Fund in the amount of $23,582 be approved, and that the 2023 surplus be transferred to the operating project carry forward reserve in the amount of $18,093 be approved, and that the 2023 surplus be transferred to the Municipal Drainage Reserve Fund in the amount of $15,000 be approved, and that the 2023 surplus be transferred to the Life Cycle Management Reserve Fund in the amount of $14,020 be approved, and that the 2023 surplus be transferred to the Fleet Management Reserve Fund in the amount of $10,000 be approved, and that the 2023 surplus be transferred to the Community Improvement Plan Reserve Fund in the amount of $6,815 be approved, and that the 2023 surplus be transferred to the Winter Maintenance Reserve Fund in the amount of $5,000 be approved, and that the 2023 surplus be transferred to the Landfill Reserve Fund in the amount of $4,000 be approved, and further that any remaining portion of the 2023 surplus be allocated to the Life Cycle Management Reserve Fund.
And I'm going to add one that you skipped over,
skip
and that
one?
the 2023 surplus be transferred to the Tax Rate Stabilization Reserve Fund in the amount of $25,000 be approved. So that gets them all. It's a long laundry list. It's okay. It's overwhelming. They're just good surpluses. Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Brody. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, next up on the agenda is 7D, the hot mix asphalt tender results, and I'll turn it over to our Public Works Manager, Coulter Cahill.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. As mentioned tonight, my report's on our hot mix asphalt tender results. On the 2024 capital budget, council allocated funds towards the paving of Melwood Drive from Calvert Drive to Kerwood Road. This segment of roadway was captured in the pavement condition assessment exercise completed in 2021. It was one of our lowest rated hard surface roads in the township. Tender PW 03-2024 The supply and application for hot mix asphalt was issued on Tuesday, March 5th, and it closed on Tuesday, March 19th. We received 4 bids. The successful bidder for the supply and application of hot mix asphalt was JR Excavating Limited, based on the lowest price per unit. Based on the bids received, we are over the budget amount of $390,000 by $68,768 plus HST for the 2024 hot mix asphalt program. To address this overage, we will first allocate savings from other 2024 capital projects. Should we need further funds, we'll draw the necessary amounts from the Life Cycle Management Reserve Fund. I will note with a couple of capital projects and our purchases that we've already closed in 2024, like the grader and the snow plow coming in under budget. We are hoping that the cost savings there will likely net us out at the end of the year. But it is still too early to tell. My recommendation is below. I will open up for any questions if there is any at this time. Thank you.
Yeah, are there any questions for Coulter? Councillor McKinnon?
Through you, Mayor Clark, to Coulter. Does the carbon tax have any of the responsibility for the overage in this tender?
Thank you, Councillor McKinnon. That is, in speaking with a few of the contractors, that was the worry going into it. I know a few, I spoke with, I think 2 or 3, and I know that's why the price is up quite a bit, so.
Thank you.
Have to plan for that overage, so. Okay, well, hopefully you can reallocate and pick up an offset somewhere else, like you said, so we'll be looking for that. Okay, any other questions for Coulter? Seeing none, we have a recommendation that council approve the tender received from JR Excavating Limited in the amount of $458,768 plus HST for the supply and application of hot mix asphalt. Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Nordoff. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, next up on the agenda is 7E, and it's in reference to a special occasion permit for the Kerwood Annual Ball Tournament 2024. And I'll turn it over to our legislative affairs. Is that what you are? Legislative? What are you?
Manager of Legislative Service.
Manager of Legislative Services. Well, we changed it from the clerk, right? So at Adelaide Metcalfe, we don't pay people more. We just give them a fancier title. So I'm trying to be fiscally responsible. Okay, we'll turn it over to Mike Barnier.
Thank you. Through the mayor to members of council. At this point, very routine report. The annual ball tournament this year is on June 7th, 8th, and 9th. They're applying for a special occasion permit to sell alcohol, and you can see on the report there's only so many parameters where you can sell alcohol. One being a public event, but if it's a municipal public event, then you need to declare it municipally significant. So the optimists have submitted a request for an SOP, and we're happy to support them. And the recommendation is that council designates the Optimist Club Kerwood Adelaide Metcalfe Annual Ball Tournament June 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2024 to be an event of municipal and or community significance, and to advise the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario that it has no objections to this event. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for Mike? I think it's great for the community. It brings a lot of people in, that's for sure. Okay, he's read the recommendation, moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Nordoff, all in favor, and that's carried. Okay, just on the off chance, we're not going to have the lighting in place by then, are we? Because that would be too disruptive. Okay. Next up on the agenda is 7F, the water and wastewater rates for 2024, and I'll turn it over to our CAO, Morgan Calvert.
Thank you, Mayor Clark, and through to council, just a quick report. Really what this report and associated bylaws is doing is recognizing that we have a couple of service agreements for the provision of public utilities. And these bylaws align the rates and water rates of those servicing agreements within the township. There's one area that's not captured by this report, being Kaiser. They have individual agreements with North Middlesex for the provision of public utilities, being water to their homes. And they're also subject to the water and, well, I guess just the water rates of North Middlesex. So I'll leave it there. Recommendations to report to approve the bylaw later on the agenda. And I'll take any questions if council has any.
Okay, any questions for Morgan? Okay, seeing that there aren't any, we have a recommendation that council approve the water and wastewater charges bylaw. Moved by Counselor McKinnon, seconded by Counselor Brody, all in favor, and that's carried. Thank you. Okay. Is there any other business? No? Okay, then we have a bylaw recommendations that bylaw 25 of 2024, the water and wastewater rates, bylaw 26 of 24, the agreement for the hot mix asphalt for JR Excavating Limited, and bylaw 27 of 2024, confirming April 2nd, received first, second, and third and final readings. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Counselor Brody, seconded by Counselor Nordoff, all in favor, and that's carried. So it is a record-breaking meeting, and it's the one last call for any other business. Okay, we are efficient if nothing else. All right, could we have a recommendation that the meeting be adjourned at 7:21 PM. Moved by Counselor Nordoff, seconded by Counselor Brody, all in favor, and that's carried. Thank you.